Rapper A$AP Rocky's trial is expected to resume today with witnesses and detectives taking the stand. A$AP Rocky, whose real name is Rakeem Mayers, faces felony charges for allegedly firing a gun at a former friend.
It doesn't matter about what he said about the jury. That has That has no bearing on any decision I'm going to make.
So A$AP Rocky is officially on trial, and things are getting wild. Word on the street is that Rihanna is looking pretty upset because her boyfriend and baby daddy might be facing decades behind bars, probably missing their son's birthdays for the next 20 years. It's a mess, y'all. A$AP arrived solo, but inside Rihanna was front and center as they both put on a united display. Rihanna sitting with Rocky's mom and sister love the co-Rocky. The trial has already turned into a circus, from the judge flirting with Rocky's mom to witnesses dropping major bombshells, and Rocky's lawyers pulling some moves that had completely thrown the prosecution off guard. There's drama everywhere, but here's the big twist. Some think he's crazy for rejecting what they're calling a sweetheart deal, while others argued the deal doesn't make sense because Rocky didn't even do what they said he did. And of course, people are comparing this to the Tory Lanez trial, wondering if Rocky could get 10 years like Tory did. So are the odds really stacked against Rocky? And what exactly does Rihanna have to do with all of this? Stick around, because this trial is only getting crazier. If you haven't been keeping up, A$AP Rocky is currently on trial for allegedly at his own crew member A$AP. I know you'd think this case would be simple, either Rocky did it or he didn't write. But nope, this trial has more twists and turns than a soap opera. First off, people online are first place. It all started when A$AP Rocky and REI got into a heated argument, reportedly because REI believed Rocky failed to pay for the funeral arrangements of a fellow crew member who had passed away. That disagreement escalated, and now Rocky is facing serious charges. For some background, before A$AP Rocky became the global rap star we know today, he was part of the A$AP Mob. The group was founded in 2006 in Harlem, New York, and was made up of rappers, producers, music video directors, and fashion designers. A big part of their identity was putting A$AP before their names. So we got A$AP Rocky, A$AP Ferg, A$AP2, A$AP RI, and so on. Now, expectations: some of the other members expected Rocky to step up and support them financially. That's where things started getting messy. Really, in particular, seemed to feel Rocky wasn't doing enough for the group. And that's where their conflict began. It all went down back in 2021 when a member of the A$AP Mob passed away. Many people assumed that A$AP Rocky, being the most successful and wealthy of the group, would step in and cover some, if not all, of the funeral expenses. But A$AP, I believed Rocky had turned his back on the crew and didn't contribute. Feeling betrayed, I decided to confront Rocky, leading to a heated altercation. Just a block away from the famous Hollywood Walk of Fame, things escalated quickly. Of the confrontation in the grainy video, Rocky and REI can be seen getting physical before someone steps in to break them apart. But then Rocky appears to reach for something, his gun. However, the footage also shows him tucking it away, leaving a huge question mark over what really happened next. According to REI, Rocky didn't just brandish the weapon, he actually fired it. He claims that one of the bullets grazed his knuckles, and he later sought medical attention after flying back to Los Angeles. But here's where things get suspicious. REI didn't report the incident to the police immediately. Instead, he waited several days before filing a report. Now, if someone shoots at you and you actually get hit, wouldn't your first instinct? Delay in reporting has raised a lot of eyebrows, and Rocky's defense team is using it as a key argument to challenge REI's claims. The biggest problem: the CCTV footage isn't crystal clear, and it doesn't capture the full event. This means that both the prosecution and defense have to rely heavily on witness testimonies. And so far, things aren't looking great for the prosecution. Their star witness, A$AP REI, hasn't exactly been the most convincing on the stand. In fact, a lot of Rocky's fans online believe that REI isn't just holding a grudge, but that he's also a straight-up snitch. Many fans feel that instead of handling the matter privately within the A$AP Mob, REI ran to the police. Betrayal, but Rocky's legal team isn't holding back, and they've made it clear what they believe this case is really about. In his opening statement, Rocky's lawyer Joe Takapa didn't mince words, saying this case is about one man's jealousy, which lies in greed. This is all about money, plain and simple, a clear attempt at extortion, period, end of story. But believe it or not, That's not even the top 5 messiest things happening in this trial. As we mentioned, the trial kicked off on January 24th, and right out of the gate, controversy exploded over the jury selection. The jury consists of 7 women and 5 men. But here's the kicker, not a single one of them is black now, considering that both Rocky and the alleged victim ASAP Rocky are black, and that the trial is taking place in Los Angeles, a city with a significant black population. People are calling foul. Social media went wild with frustration, questioning how in a case with such high media attention, there wasn't a single black juror chosen. And it's not just fans raising concerns. Reverend Al Sharpton himself has spoken out slamming the jury selection process. Sharpton released a statement saying, "I have been closely in touch with ASAP Rocky's friends. And though I do not know all the details of the trial, I do know one thing, he deserves a fair trial, judged by a jury of his peers, as is his constitutional right. It is absolutely unacceptable that the jury lacks diversity when we have a black population in Los Angeles. Out of 106 potential jurors, not a single black person was among the first 30 candidates. Something isn't right with this system." But then again, this case just keeps getting weirder. And the police investigation is no exception. When ASAP Rocky finally decided to report the alleged shooting, the police went straight to the scene to investigate. You'd think they'd find solid evidence, right? Well, that's where things get strange. Despite searching thoroughly, officers found nothing. No shell casings, no bullet fragments. Already combed the area and walked away empty-handed. Really somehow managed to find shell casings himself. Yep, after an entire investigative team came up short, I supposedly went back, magically discovered shell casings, and then handed them over to the police as evidence. Now ask yourself, how does that even make sense? The police, who are literally trained to find this kind of stuff, missed it. But Rihanna, who isn't an investigator, just casually stumbles across them. It's no surprise that people are side-eyeing this part of the case. If the jury buys that story, a lot of people will be shocked. But if you thought that was wild, wait until you hear this. ASAP Rocky turned down a plea deal. Right now, Rocky is facing 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. If convicted, he could be looking at 24 years behind bars. That's decades of his life on the line. So when the prosecution offered him a plea deal, a lot of people assumed he'd take it. The deal was pretty straightforward. Plead guilty to 1 felony count, served 6 months in jail, but with a suspended 7-year sentence, plus 3 years of probation, 500 hours of community service and anger management classes. That means as long as he stayed out of trouble and followed the terms, he wouldn't even have to serve real jail time. But Rocky wasn't having it. When asked about the plea deal, he simply said, "I respectfully declined." This decision instantly divided public opinion. On one side, people thought Rocky should have taken the deal. After all, 180 days with no actual jail time is a way better outcome than risking 24 years behind bars. Why gamble with his future when he could just get this over with? On the other side, fans are saying Rock did the right thing by rejecting it. If he truly believes he's innocent, why should he plead guilty to something he didn't do? Plus, taking a felony charge, even without jail time, could be devastating for his career. A felony conviction could make it harder to travel, book shows, and work with certain brands. ASAP Rocky's decision to reject the plea deal wasn't just about avoiding jail. It was about a career-ending move. Why? Because the moment he pleads guilty, he'd lose everything: his endorsement deals with Gucci and Puma, his invite to the Met Gala, and most importantly, his ability to tour. And in the music industry, if you can't tour, your career is basically on life support. But it gets even worse. If Rocky had agreed to the plea, he would have been stuck under the system's thumb for over 8 years, locked into probation, court supervision, and constant monitoring. And let's not forget, even though the plea would have kept him out of jail, he'd still have a felony on his record. That's a stain that never really goes away. It would make it harder to travel internationally, book shows, and land future business deals. A better deal than 24 years in prison. Rocky and his team clearly believed there was a real chance he could beat the case entirely. No plea, no record, and no career-ending consequences. And judging by how the trial has unfolded so far, Rocky might actually be in a stronger position than people thought. But just when you think this case can't get any messier, Rocky's defense team dropped the biggest plot twist. Yet they're claiming there was never even a real involved. According to Rocky's lawyer Joe Takapa, Rocky did fire something, but it wasn't a deadly weapon. Instead, it was a starter pistol he bought for protection. Takopina told the jury that Rocky had been dealing with threats, including a stalker and a previous physical attack. So he carried the starter to scare off potential attackers. The lawyer claimed that on the night of the alleged incident, Rocky twice not to harm anyone, but to frighten our eye away and protect his friend Ills, who was also there. But the prosecutors weren't buying a call from a woman who claimed she witnessed the shooting. Then they revealed a photo of the weapon they believe Rocky used now. Here's where things take an even wilder turn. When police raided Rocky's house after his arrest, they did find firearms, but every single one of them was legally registered. More importantly, they never found the 9mm semi-automatic pistol that the prosecution claims Rocky used. So where is this supposed weapon? According to the prosecution, it was Rocky's, and to prove it, they hit him with something no one saw coming, a ballistics report that they claim confirms Rocky at rally. But Rocky's defense team wasn't having it. His lawyers immediately pushed back hard, arguing that they were dropped. Another bombshell: Rocky's legal team was given just one day to find an expert to examine the ballistics report, and the court even agreed to cover the cost. That sounds fair, right? But here's the catch. The judge made it very clear that this last-minute evidence wasn't going to slow down the trial. The message was loud and clear. This case is moving forward, no matter what. As this legal battle unfolds, fans and legal analysts alike have drawn comparisons to Tory Lanez case, which resulted in a 10-year prison sentence. Lanez was convicted in December 2022 on multiple felony charges, including with a semi-automatic firearm, possession of an unregistered firearm, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Case was going in his favor. His team aggressively launched a smear campaign against Meghan, attempting to paint her as an unreliable witness. However, this strategy ultimately backfired, and the evidence presented against Lanez, along with his poor public perception, led to a harsh sentencing with Rocky's case. The situation is somewhat different, but there are key similarities that have fans worried. Like Lanez, Rocky is facing accusations of weapon, and the prosecution has introduced ballistic evidence to support their claims. However, one major difference is that Rocky allegedly fired at a lesser-known associate, not a high-profile female rapper. The media frenzy surrounding situation, on the other hand, has remained relatively low profile in comparison. Another critical difference is public perception. Unlike Tory Lanez, who alienated many with his antagonistic approach, Rocky has managed to maintain a favorable image. His fashion-forward persona, relationship with Rihanna, and relatively clean public record work in his favor.
The 36-year-old, who faces 24 years in prison if convicted, has pleaded not guilty, and today he rejected a plea deal offer of 180 days in jail, saying, quote, "I respectfully decline."
You concerned about rejecting?
Even the judge presiding over the case appears to have a soft spot for him. In a bizarre courtroom moment, the judge openly complimented Rocky's mother, calling her gorgeous in front of the entire courtroom. This unusual display of admiration has led some to believe that Rocky may receive leniency due to his status. So while A$AP Rocky's legal battle has dominated headlines, Rihanna has been quietly enduring her own struggles behind the scenes. The ongoing trial has taken an emotional toll on the global superstar, despite her and Rocky projecting a united and confident front in public. Sources close to Rihanna reveal that she has been feeling the pressure and anxiety of this case since day one, with the weight of the Angeles International Airport. The couple had just returned from vacation in Barbados, expecting a peaceful homecoming, only to be met with law enforcement officers who immediately arrested Rocky in connection to the shooting case. At the time, Rihanna was heavily pregnant, making the entire experience even more distressing. According to insiders, she suffered from severe anxiety attacks, fearing that the stress of the situation might trigger early labor. Fortunately, she was able to carry her pregnancy to term without complications, but the trauma of that moment left a lasting impact. Now, 2 years later, Rihanna finds herself once again at the center of a storm as Rocky's trial unfolds, juggling her multi-billion-dollar empire, her music career, and the responsibilities of being a mother of two. all while dealing with the emotional strain of the courtroom battle, has placed an immense burden on her shoulders. Though she has maintained a strong and composed public image, insiders claim that the stress is beginning to wear her down. One major factor contributing to this pressure is the highly publicized nature of the trial. The judge has allowed cameras in the courtroom, meaning that every moment of this legal spectacle will be televised for Rihanna. This means that the entire world will be watching as her partner fights for his freedom. While she is no stranger to public scrutiny, having intimate details of their personal life dissected in real time adds an entirely new level of stress beyond the emotional toll. The trial has also put Rihanna's business ventures in a complicated position. As the founder of Fenty Beauty and Savage X Fenty, her brand is built on empowerment, inclusivity, and a clean reputation, endorsements and collaborations. Though Rihanna has always been fiercely loyal to Rocky, the long-term consequences of this case remain uncertain. Some fans believe that Rocky is being unfairly targeted, drawing comparisons to Tory Lanez's high-profile conviction. Others argue that the evidence is shaky and that the case is being sensationalized for the sake of media attention. Regardless of public opinion, one thing is clear: this trial is taking a toll on everyone involved, especially Rihanna. At this point, this trial is shaping up to be one of the most intense legal battles in recent memory. And with Rihanna feeling the pressure, things are only going to get more complicated. Do you think ASAP Rocky think this will impact Rihanna in the long run? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on this unfolding drama. Stay tuned for more. A lot of people felt like Rocky should have taken the deal, because compared to 24 years in prison, it's much better. Plus, he doesn't have to actually spend any time in jail, provided he doesn't violate the terms of his probation or commit another crime. However, other fans believe Rocky was right not to take the deal. For one, if he says he's innocent, then he should get his day in court. But also, fans are saying that the plea deal will effectively end Rocky's career. One source close to him told TMZ this would effectively end his career because he would lose all of his endorsement contracts, including Gucci, Puma, the Met Gala, and most important, he would not be able to tour, and his career would be over. The source added, they would have him under their thumb for over 8 years. Let's not forget that the plea deal would also make sure the one count of felony assault he pleads guilty to goes on his record, so it might be a good deal compared to 24 years. But if there's a chance that he gets to walk away from all this without any jail time or blemish on his record, then it makes sense for him to take his chances. And from the court proceedings, so far it looks like the odds are stacked in Rocky's favor. If you thought things were messy, prepare yourself for the biased plot twist in this case. Yet Rocky's defense team is claiming that there wasn't even any real firearm to begin with, that it was a prop gun. Rocky's lawyer Joe Takapa told the jury that Rocky did fire something, a starter gun that he had bought to scare off attackers after he was the victim of an earlier attack. And a stalker, according to Takapa, Rocky fired it twice, hoping the sound would be enough to scare off REI and protect Ills, another friend who was present during the altercation. However, the prosecutors fired back, saying Rocky fired a 9mm semi-automatic pistol. They even played a 911 call made by a woman who claimed she witnessed the incident, and they displayed the photo of the thing they believe Rocky fired. But it would turn out that the police raided Rocky's house shortly after his arrest, and they did find some firearms, but they were all registered. The 9mm semi was never found at Rocky's house either. So where did it come from? Well, according to the prosecution, the semi came from Rocky. They shocked Rocky and his lawyer by pulling up ballistics report that apparently proved that Rocky fired a gun at REI. Rocky's legal team was not having it, and they argued that the defense blindsided them with the information, so there was no way the case could go on unless they figured it out. And here's where the judge dropped another shocker: Rocky has just 1 day to get an expert to review the ballistics report. The court will even pay for it. But the judge is saying this bombshell is not going to slow down the trial. Now it's looking like Rocky should have taken that plea deal. After all, some fans are comparing this case to the Tory Lanez case because they're kind of similar. and Tory got 10 years. They're worried that Rocky might end up like Tory or worse. In December 2022, Tory was convicted of 3 felonies: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. This was after he allegedly shot rapper Megan Thee Stallion in the foot. At first, it seemed like the case was going in Tory's favor. He and his minions launched a smear campaign against Megan, and he played the whole God-fearing, devoted father angle. However, everything backfired, and he ended up getting sentenced to 10 years in prison. Obviously, the cases are different for many reasons. Firstly, Tory shot a famous woman. Rocky allegedly shot a less-known member of his crew. True, the evidence was stacked up against Tory, and the media was not fond of him after his smear campaign against Megan became obvious with Rocky. The evidence against him is shaky at best, and he's a good-look fashion boy, married to a superstar billionaire. Although he has had some run-ins with the law in the past, his PR team works overtime because Rocky is not really associated with violence or gangbanging or any of that. The media loves him. Even the judge is a fan. Sure, the judge tried to play the whole "you will not be treated differently because you're a celebrity" card, but he was also openly flirting with Rocky's mom. In court on the record,